going to make a quiz in WordPress using Formidable Forms, the professional version of Formidable Forms. I'll be doing it here on one of the client's websites, and this will be the training video in order to do more and more forms. There's a number of forms here already that are in use. If we go to Formidable Forms, we can see a bunch of them here, but today we're going to create a new test form, and we'll start off with a blank form. We'll call it test form for training, and we don't need a description for this. So let's dive in and create the form. Now, be aware that, okay, so I'll just go to Formidable. I need to show you one thing with Formidable Form, the premium version with the add-ons. I'm just going to open this up in a new tab so you can have a look. It needs to have a section called Quizmaker added. You just press that install button and then it becomes active. And you need that there to be able to dive into the form. Now, in this form, we're going to be asking for the name and the email address and the phone number of the person doing the form. Alternatively, you could put in just the user ID if they're logged in. But in this case, we're not going to force the user to log in because that's another complicated step. And so instead we're just going to be asking them for their name and their email address and their phone number. All right, now later I will make these a required field by pressing that required button. But right now, we're not going to do that, and I'll explain why in a moment. So, you can either ask the question in the form of text, like what is the name of the yellow fruit that you can peel that monkeys are very fond of, and the answer would be banana. But I don't actually encourage that type of quiz. It is not as intuitive as a multiple choice with the options you've got here in Formidable Forms. So you can have as many multiple choices as you want. And here we're just going to make it really simple. What is 1 plus 1? Okay. And we'll have option 1 as 1, option 2 as 2, and we'll add another option. Sorry, I didn't mean to press other option. We'll get rid of that. And here we'll have 3. Okay, so there's one multiple choice question. We'll add a couple more. You could do it as a drop down. I prefer the radio button. Radio buttons are good in this instance because you can only make one choice with a radio button, whereas with checkboxes you could have multiple answers. All right, so question number 2, what is the first letter of the alphabet? And we'll have A and B, and we'll add an option and put in all of the above. Let's just put in one more so you get the hang of it. One more radio button. And what's a good question? Okay, what is the capital city of Australia? And option 1, Sydney. Option 2, New York. Oh, let's yeah, New York's fine. And let's not get fussy here. And option 3, Canberra. All right, so they're the 3 questions in this quiz. All right, now to finish this off and to make this be able to calculate, we need to add in a score. Now, by the way, I'm going to post the link to this help article here on Formidable Forms, how to make a quiz in WordPress, because this actually steps you through all of the things that I've just shown you. Okay, and we are now up to this point where we add a quiz score. Okay, now after we've actually this is not the best help article. I'll show you the link for this one. This is a better article here. Quiz Maker Forms. This is a better article. Okay, and we're up to this point here where we've dropped in the quiz score. Okay, now I'll just point out, we'll go back in here. So we've dropped this in. I'll just point out 2 things. The field key here is this one, or the ID is this one. We can use the ID, that's fine. Okay, just remember that the ID here is 503, or I can just copy that. And we press update. All right, once that's updated, what we need to do now is go to entries, click on entries. There's no entries yet because no one has filled out this form yet. So what we need to do is create our first entry, and this will be all the answers. All right. Now, unfortunately, the way that Formidable Forms is made is that when it scores, it will actually score those text fields. Remember when I said you could put in a question of what is a fruit you can peel that monkeys like, and you could put in the text answer of banana? Well, it would actually score that. It explains here, for example, if the correct response is to today, answers like it is today will be accepted. This is kind of good, but it's also kind of annoying, because I use those fields for the person's name and their email and their phone number, and that's not part of the quiz. But according to Formidable Forms, that would be part of the quiz, which is a bit silly. Okay, look, that's just by the by, so that I can explain this next section. We'll leave the name blank, we'll leave the email blank, we'll leave the phone number blank, right? And what we'll do now is we'll answer the questions that are actually part of the quiz. So 1 + 1 = 2. First letter of the alphabet equals A. Capital city of Australia is Canberra. Now, we're going to set this entry as the quiz and answer key. And we're going to submit that. Press submit. All right. So now we've added our entry with the correct answers. We can now go to settings. Now here under settings, it's already picked up that the quiz key is this one. If we go back to entries, just go back to entries for a moment. I mean, say, for argument's sake, you had more than one entry. If we just view this entry, we can see the ID of the entry, and the ID of the entry, you can see it up there, is 46. You can see the ID of the entry here is 46, and you can see here, we're under settings, under general, and you can see here that the quiz key, the answers, is 46. Okay? Now what we're going to do is update the message. Now I'll take you back here to the Formidable Forms guide, and this will show you the total of correct answers. Okay. Now this X, by the way, replace X, it says here, replace X with the ID or field key of the quiz score field in the form. Now I'll show you that again in case you're confused. But what we're going to do here is use the total. So the total count of correct answers. This will be the easiest one for our purposes here. So I'm just going to copy that, and we're going to come back here to the messages, and we're going to say congratulations on finishing the quiz. Your score is, now paste that and type in out of 3, because there were 3 questions. Okay. Now just update that. Now I remember that quiz number ID was 503, but I just need to show you that so that you're clear on what we're doing here. We're going back to build, and down here at the bottom under quiz score, the ID of this quiz score field is 503. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here to the settings, and instead of X, we're going to put in 503. All right. Now, you can also mail yourself a copy. I'll just update that. Always update as you go through so that you don't lose anything. I'm also going to do an action and notifications here, and we're going to send this email. We're going to send this email. It can go to the admin of the website, and instead of the default message, we'll have the default message that will show all the answers, so you know which ones they got wrong and everything. But we'll also put in the score is out of 3. So the quiz score out of 3, and then just press update. Okay, and then you'll get the admin of the website will also get sent a copy of this. What I would also do if I was you is I would put in a subject, and we'd call it the best out of 3 quiz. And then you can even put in the name of the person that sent the quiz, because you've got remember you captured their name and their email and the phone number. I prefer to use the keys here. So just type in the key, and that will come in the subject line. Best out of 3 quiz and the name of the person. Instead of sending it to the admin email, you can also put in your own email. If it's a different one, just type in your own email there and press update. All right, so that quiz should be ready now. Let's just test it out. We'll go back to our forms section so that we can see our list of forms here. And what did we call this form? We called it just bear with me. I don't think I gave this form a proper name. So we'll just come down here to, oh, that's right. We called it test form. Sorry, my mistake. We'll come back to forms, and we'll just look for that form called test form. I can get the short code from another place as well, but for ease of training you, and I spelt that wrong, but that doesn't matter. Notice over here we have got a short code for that form. And I'll just copy that. It's a short code, and that will allow me to put this form embedded into a new page. So what I'm going to do now is create a page. I've just gone up here, new page. I've opened that up in a new tab, so we can call this test page for test form. Okay, and what we're going to do now is paste in that short code that we copied before. I'm just going to copy and paste this again because I'm lazy, and we'll put this up here as a heading. We'll put that up there as a heading, and here in the visual window we'll make that nice and big with a heading 1. Now we can publish this. If we publish this, everyone will be able to see it, okay? And that's a good feature in another form plugin called Happy Forms, that you can actually make these forms private, okay? So that only the people that you want to see it will be able to see it. We could use the features up here under visibility, and we could make it private so that only logged in people can see it. But instead what we'll do is we'll password protect it, and we'll just give it a password called test. Okay? We'll also make sure that there's no sidebar on this website, because this website was built using Divi. I don't use Divi myself. I use a number of other different ones, but not Divi. But I just help with some of the maintenance on this website. All right, so now we'll just press update, make sure it's all updated before we go and test that. And now let's go and test it and make sure everything is working. So we go to view page, and of course it's password protected, so we have to type in the word test and press submit so that we get access to this page. And now we need a name. I'll call myself Craig. Tester, and the phone number, that's 04. I'll just put in a random number there. Okay, and so what is 1 plus 1? We'll give the correct answer there of 2. What is the first letter of the alphabet? We'll give the correct answer of A. And what is the capital city of Australia? We'll give the incorrect answer of New York. And let's see what we get here when we press submit. There was a problem with the submission. Email is invalid. So we'll have to put in tester@tester.com and put that in a valid email style format. And now we can submit that again. Okay, congratulations on finishing the quiz. Your score is 2 out of 3. Now, that's a bit hard to read. So what we're going to do is we're going to style this a little bit more so it becomes more easy to read. So we'll go back into Formidable Forms, and we will go to Styles. And we're going to create a new style here under Formidable Forms. So we'll press New Style. And we're going to call this style Quiz Master. Okay. And let's have a look. Progress bars, repeater fields, form messages. I'm quite happy with the colors. That's fine. But let's really just up the ante here and make that 24 points so that we can really see that properly. And let's update that and have a look. All right, so Quiz Master is now a new style. But of course, first we have to apply this style to the forms where we want that message to be nice and big, okay? So we're going to come back down here to Test Forms for Training and go to Settings. And here under Styling and Buttons, under Style Template, we're going to use Quiz Master Style and press Update. And just wait until that finishes updating. So now when we come back to this page, we should be able to resend this if we stay on the same tab. Actually, it's not picking that up. I'll just purge our cache, and that should bring in the new CSS. But of course, now we've got to put in. Now this time we'll go for a 3 out of 3. 1 plus 1 equals 2. First letter is A. Capital city of Australia is Canberra, and now we'll press submit. Now that's still only giving us that very small message, so just bear with me while I troubleshoot this a bit and see why it's not playing ball with us. It's hard to understand why it hasn't picked this up, because I can see here that this looks good. In fact, I should make the error message the same size and make sure it looks good as well, and press update. So let's just try that again. Once more, I'm going to go, I'll press update, double and triple make sure that this is updated. Once again, we're applying this to Quizmaster, and I'm going to purge all of the cache again just in case, and take it from there. All right, sorry about that. The phone rang. Look, it is nice and big like this now. It was actually my browser cache in that example that needed flushing, and I didn't want to flush my browser cache because then I'd get logged out. So I'm showing you this on a different browser. But anyone that comes in new to this and does the exam, that'll be nice and big and readable. All right, now I've still got to show you a couple more things on this before we're finished, before we're done. And that is, okay, so why did I leave my name blank and everything like that? Well, I'll explain why. Because in this test form that I've built, as I said when we began, I wanted to make the name and the email and the phone number a required field, right? But there was a bit of a catch-22 about doing that. If I made the name and the email and the phone number a required field to begin with, right, that would mean that when I go over to the entries to put in the correct answer, form entries for, these are all my tester ones. Sorry, these are all my tester ones, just a sec. But you can see the original one, which is the actual correct answers, that's down here. And you notice it doesn't have a name or an email or a phone number, and it doesn't have a score. And that's because if I did put in a name, that would get judged as an answer, and we don't want that, or a question, we don't want that. But if I built it originally as a required thing, I wouldn't actually be able to fill this out as the answer sheet. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you. And look, this is a more of a result of this annoying thing here about Formidable Forms, about how the fact that these are the only fields that isn't worth 1 point, okay? So the text fields, the email fields, and the phone number fields are, in fact, worth 1 point, which is really, really, really stupid. Okay, I hope you're taking that on board, Formidable Forms, because I love you. I love you to death. I think you're one of the world's best form makers for WordPress. I really do. But there's these little annoying things that just give me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, related customizations. Form quiz score field. I'm just showing you this because I want to show you why I did it that way, right? How annoying. We're going to have more than one quiz, and we don't want to be adding hooks throughout the website, and then having to put in the numbers of those fields that we don't want counted, or the other way around, putting in a hook for the fields we do want counted. And I know most people that are watching this are already lost. What the hell's he talking about? Hooks, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Formidable Form has these things in here. They call it Formidable Hooks for Developers, and that is because you would have to be a bit of a developer to understand that. This goes against the grain of having a form builder that's drag and drop. You know, if you were a developer, you know, sure, this makes a lot of sense, but, you know, the big question remains, how many of the Formidable Forms users are, in fact, developers? I would hesitate to say less than 20%, less than 10%. So this type of lazy implementation for such a useful thing as a form builder, you know, it's just, you know, they've almost spoilt it, haven't they? Fortunately, I'm here to save the day, and I've given you a workaround. I hope you can see that that workaround was pretty easy, and that is you put in all the fields that you want, right, and just leave them blank, and then add that as an answer here. Add this one as the answer. So you can do it from two places. If we go in and edit the original answer thing, I'll just refresh your memory. When you do the very first entry and you answer all the questions, then you mark down that this is the quiz answer key. Okay? And if we go to settings, and remember I've pointed out that the ID for this is 46. So if we go down to the quizzes and the quiz key, we can see that is in fact 46. All right? And then after all that's done, you can go back into the build. You can go back into the build and you can put these in as required fields. And because they're empty, basically whatever answer you give, it doesn't really matter, right? So, and you can't leave it empty because it's required. Okay, that's the beauty of it. So they're going to get you know, they're going to get three correct answers here. Okay, and or two correct ones or one correct one. So so that's why when we go to the settings, that's why we can't use some of these other options they've got down here, such as percentage. We're going to have to use that total, and we're going to have to count the amount of questions in there and add that in manually. And I'll just show you that one more time as well. Under the settings and also under the notifications, the email notifications. Okay, that's why we're going to have to use this where your score is and the 503 in brackets show total. So once more, you get that short code from here, okay, and you paste that into here into the messages, and also under actions and notifications if you want to be emailed that, and you grab that number, that 503 number. I'll just remind you one more time where that came from. That came from from over here underneath build quiz score, and there it is there, the ID of that quiz score, so that it gives you the total. All right, I hope this was a helpful tutorial for you on how to build quizzes in Formidable Forms. I hope you found it useful, that we were able to get around this horrid customization thing that they have here for deselecting which fields that you don't want to use in that quiz. If this video was helpful for you, please like and subscribe to the channel, and thank you very much for watching.